I discovered this about an hour ago when I got a phone call from a member of my staff saying Ozzy Osbourne died. The big question is, for me anyway, and for a lot of people, especially for Christians, is where did Ozzy go when he died?
Mr. Bob Larson, the self-proclaimed exorcist, I think you have way more to worry about than Ozzy does with where you're going to end up. Let's get into it. Hey everybody, and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to discuss, I came across a video shortly after Ozzy Osbourne passed away of Bob Larson casting judgment when he said he wasn't, but he was. First, I want to say to Sharon and the rest of the Osbourne family, like, my heart is with you guys. That's a big loss. I know you guys knew it was coming, kind of, but I don't think you knew it was coming this fast after that show. So, you know, our hearts are with you guys, and I mean, I doubt you'll ever see this. I don't care. I just, like, I feel really bad for you guys, and we've definitely thoughts and prayers are with you guys. Second, I want to say, I'm not really going to do like a tribute to Ozzy. We did that in our last live stream. You know, we kind of talked about the situation quite a bit. I want to point you all to Beardo's last video because he said it way better than I can. And I want everybody to see, hopefully you guys have already seen it, but I want everybody to go to Beardo's video and watch that. Because he says a lot of, you know, he really did a nice tribute to Ozzy Osbourne and what he meant to himself and a lot of the rest of us. So everybody go check that video out. I will link that in the description and, you know, go watch it. It's really good. Today we are going to get into a live stream that Bob Larson, the Exorcist, self-proclaimed exorcist, I might add, did about the fate of Ozzy Osbourne. Basically, he's saying that he went to hell and he lays out his case, but there's a lot of things he's wrong about, in my opinion. I also think that he is the last one to be judging where someone is going. He's got way bigger things to worry about than Ozzy Osbourne ever did. And we're going to get into some of that today. We're going to go ahead and review his live stream that he did. And let's go ahead and talk about it.
I discovered this about an hour ago when I got a phone call from a member of my staff saying Ozzy Osbourne died. And I was in the midst of personal spiritual encounters, ministry deliverance sessions with people, and I cleared my schedule, rushed to the studio so that I could get in front of this camera and talk to you about what in pop culture is an incredibly momentous event.
Hey everybody, and welcome back. It's Shapey Poo. If I've preached one thing over the years, one of the best ways to debunk somebody is through continuity errors. Now what Jeff from Boo is trying to do here is make you believe that he filmed this in one setting. It didn't happen. I'm just telling y'all right now, it didn't happen. There are so many continuity errors going on here, it's not even funny. Comment below what you guys see as the continuity errors between what you've just seen and what you're seeing now. Thank you, everybody. Boo, you have been debunked by the shape. Yes, I've been debunked. Once again, this is not the original setting that I was in while making this, but okay, now we're getting into it. Let's go ahead and react to what this jackass just said. So let me get this straight. You were doing the Lord's work, the work that you say that you are commissioned to do. You cleared your schedule from helping all these people because Ozzy Osbourne passed away, and you knew that this would be like a good video for your YouTube channel. So you rushed into the studio, you pulled out your phone, and you started going live. Like, that's just weird. Like, that's not your job. Your job is not a YouTube channel. Your job, as you say, is to help people do exorcisms and, you know, do the work of the Lord. Well, I don't think God gave two shits about YouTube. I'm just saying.
After 4 decades, Ozzy's dead. I remember in 1970, they released it on Friday the 13th, naturally. The album Sabbath, Bloody Sabbath, featuring a witch on the front. Now, back then, this was absolutely outrageous. And of course, later, groups like Slayer and Deicide and Morbid Angel and the church-burning bands of Scandinavia all wanted to model themselves after Ozzy, only they took the devil a lot more seriously.
You're actually right on that point. It was very, very shocking back in the day. When Ozzy came out, it was very shocking music. People freaked out, especially Christians. They lost their freaking minds. Ozzy made an impact. His whole career, he made an impact. Even choosing his guitar player, Randy Rhoads. That guy was my God, and he passed away, I think, at 24. Like, he was an insane guitar player. Ozzy has just been, he's just made an impact in music his whole career. Second of all, why are you broadcasting from your cell phone? As much money as you make, you should have a YouTube studio set up and ready to go with a push of the button. Like, I don't even understand this. This is so crappy looking, it's not even funny.
And we're going to try to get some chats here, but to be honest with you, we got this together so quickly, I may or may not be able to do that, but we're going to have to look at that. So the big question is, for me anyway, and for a lot of people, especially for Christians, is where did Ozzy go when he died?
Oh, no, Bob. Don't do it. I know where you're going with this. Don't freaking do it. I'm going to tell you right now, first of all, it is not your position to judge. It's not my position to judge. However, I'm going to judge you in a little bit. So maybe I'm being hypocritical. Who cares? I've got stuff to say about that statement, but we're going to get into that later because he talks more about it later on.
Well, of course, only God knows. We're not to judge anything before the time. But judging by the evil that he glorified while he was alive.
Okay, let's talk about this real quick. When you make a statement and then say the word but, you've pretty much erased the entire statement that you just made. So you're sitting here saying you're not going to judge him and this and that and the other thing, and then you go, but, and then you commence with the judgment.
Whether it was for show business or for real, heaven just might be a bridge too far. If Ozzy made it to heaven, the Lord might have to do a lot of apologizing to millions in hell. But still, it's possible that he did make his peace with God before death. At one point he said, I'm a Christian. Well, he was sort of a Church of England Christian baptized, I suppose, but there's not a scintilla of information at any time in his life when he ever promoted godliness and decency. In fact, his whole career, his whole image was built around being, as he'd like to call himself, the Prince of Darkness.
So there again, you start to cast the judgment that I'm talking about. And, the Ozzy of recent years is not the same Ozzy that came out in the 70s and shocked everybody with the devil stuff and the demon stuff. And, but no one at the end of the day, looking back at things, people probably back in the day thought he was a devil worshiper. And he was, into Satanism and all that other stuff. He definitely portrayed that persona. But years ago, I'm not even talking 3 years ago. I'm talking about, I don't know, maybe that late 80s, early 90s. Dude changed for sure. I'm not saying that, he was gung-ho for Christ and a Christian or any of that stuff. But I mean, he was not the same Ozzy that he was in the 70s. And a lot of that, who he was because of the drugs and the drinking and the partying. And Sharon, God bless her soul, she bailed his ass out. I mean, he admits that. He saved her she saved him so many times. He would not be alive if it wasn't for Sharon. So, but to say Ozzy, today is the same Ozzy that he was when he came out with, Sabbath, Bloody Sabbath is just stupid. It's a night and day difference. Everybody's seen the show The Osbournes. Like, he's a famous dad who's a little on the goofy side and has no idea how to parent kids. He did, but I'm just saying that, there was one episode where Sharon had him go do something with Kelly, and she just freaking screamed at him, and he was like, oh, nope, I'm out of here. It was really, really funny. But No one at the end of the day looks at Ozzy and says, "Oh, that guy's a devil worshiper. He worships Satan." So that's stupid.
So how does one get past the pearly gates? How do we know if Ozzy did go to heaven? You might be surprised. And go ahead and chat, because we're going to try to pull up the chats here the best that we possibly can. Would you get someone in here who might be able to come around here to fix this so I can get the chats? Because we did this at the last minute. So Ozzy was known for his satanic lyrics.
Yep.
His demonic imagery.
Yep.
That was his stock and trade. And you can argue, well, that was showbiz. It was all theatrics. But he did it. And you really think the devil cares whether or not it was real or not real? I can tell you, in decades, particularly back in the 80s and 90s, ministering to young people, I dealt with innumerable kids involved in self-styled Satanism because of Ozzy Osbourne, because Ozzy made it cool.
Okay, so I actually kind of agree with that a little bit, because I knew people back in the day that were, experimental with the darker stuff. So I was in youth group and went to church, all that other stuff, but I had some friends that were into the darker stuff. And honestly, it wasn't because of Ozzy, it was because of Led Zeppelin. But they were still fascinated with the occult and Aleister Crowley and this and that and the other thing. But, it was just a phase. And the ironic thing is that the one guy is actually a pastor now. So it was all just a phase. So we can't blame Ozzy because, people got into darker stuff.
That's his legacy. And it's a horrible legacy.
Okay, so we really have to analyze that statement. That is not Ozzy's legacy. No one looks at Ozzy and says, "Oh, he's a Satan worshiper. He's a devil worshiper." No, his legacy is that he was a fucking killer musician. He was innovative. And when he came out, he started out, he shocked people. He definitely had a shocking thing going on back in the day. That's part of his legacy. He was always surrounded with fantastic musicians. That's part of his legacy. The songwriting, that's part of his legacy. The collabs, that's part of his legacy. The love for his fans, that's his legacy. His legacy is not Satan worshiper. That's not it. Look at the town of Birmingham for his funeral. Like, it was jam-packed. I mean, that's his legacy. The dude is an absolute fucking legend in rock and roll music, for sure. And it doesn't really have to do with the devil. It's because he was good at what he did. In the last concert, they gave over $200 million in charity. Sounds like a horrible guy to me.
Now, let me say also up front, he died. That's a terrible situation. It's an immense loss. And I cannot, nor can anybody stand and judge of how his wife Sharon and the children feel at this time. And certainly, our prayers and condolences go out to them as they experience this time of grief. It wasn't exactly a shock.
There's the word "but" again, so we know what that means. Everything he just said, fuck it, ignore it. Don't you dare talk to Sharon and her family and send your condolences after you shit on the guy for 30 minutes. That's how long this video is. It's about 30 minutes. Don't you dare do it. But you're gonna. Let's get back into it.
Suffering from Parkinson's. He tried to make this one last tour. Couldn't do it. And anybody who watched them on the reality show or in any other situation saw him constantly slurring his words and stumbling and mumbling. And he was in pretty bad shape. Well, you would be too if you'd eaten the head of a bat. You remember that? That was famous. Somebody threw a live bat on stage and he bit the head off. And then he had to have these horrible, huge needle injections to keep him alive.
That's where I'm starting to get pissed, guys. Everyone knows why he was in the shape that he was in. It was Parkinson's. It was his past life. It was a lot of reasons. But it was not because he bit the head off of a bat. Yes, he got treated for rabies, but that has nothing to do with the shape that he was in over the last years. Bob, you should not be doing this live. You should just shut the fuck up. You should minister to people because that's your job. Even though you make a shit ton of money doing it, you don't minister to anybody unless you charge them. But that's what you should be doing. Not dropping your daily schedule and clearing your schedule to go talk about Ozzy when you don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
But he was also involved in other cases of animal mutilation, but nobody seemed to pay much attention to that. It was like, oh, it's just Ozzy.
What are you talking about? Everybody paid attention to that. That's one of the things he's famous for, was biting the head off the bat, and he bit the head off of a dove. So everybody paid attention to it, you dumbass.
Actually, I'm surprised he made it to 76. 4 decades. What does he have to show for it?
He's got a lot to show for it. He really does. I mean, he's a legend. He's got a incredible legacy. He's got a family. He's got fans. He's got a shitload to show for it. Awards, all kinds of stuff. So, again, you're just being stupid.
But as he got older, he got foggier. He couldn't really speak. He couldn't talk. His life was an absolute wreck. The real issue, though, is, as I said in the beginning, did he go to heaven? Did Ozzy go to heaven? Romans 3:23 says, the wages of sin is death, and the gift of God is eternal life through Jesus Christ our Lord. Well, did he gift of eternal life? Did he ever speak of it? Was there any evidence of it? Was there any goodness, any godlessness, any moral decency in him, his family, and everything that they represented? I think you're stretching to find any.
So you are totally judging him, Bob, which you're not supposed to do. According to your religion and your Bible, you're not supposed to judge people. You don't know the man's heart. You don't know what his relationship with God was. I mean, you have no idea. But you're just going to sit here and judge the man based on your opinion of him and what you think. So you can piss off with that because, according to the religion that you believe in the same Bible that you believe in, people that do what you do, run around acting like you're clergy and preying on people that have mental issues and other problems and convince them that they're possessed and then charge them a boatload of money to help them out. You're in way worse shape than he is. So you are the last person on the planet that should be judging anybody.
But no matter how much an individual has been bad in this life, as we know from the thief on the cross, there are those deathbed conversions, those last moments between here and heaven or hell when an individual can cry out to the Lord. But what bothers me, and did bother me for many, many decades, is the way that so many impressionable young people, especially back in the 80s, late 70s, on into the 90s.
What bothers me is people like you that do what you do and take advantage of people and prey on the weak-minded people. Or, what you're doing is far more damaging to people than anything he ever did with his music. I mean, everybody that watches this channel knows I can't stand this guy. So I am going to judge him, even though I'm probably not supposed to. Although I'm judging him by the standards that he puts forth himself. He is a grifter of the highest degree. He is charging a shit ton of money for what he does, and it's disgusting.
Took him seriously. And that was okay because he was making millions of dollars by them taking him seriously. I don't recall any time, and I watched his life closely because I was a critic of pop culture with the whole rock and roll scene when I first got started in ministry. I never heard him at any time get up and say, "Don't do as I do. It's just an act. It's just a show. It's just to be macabre. It's just to sell records." No. He cultivated that dark side. And a lot of young people idolized him. They could not separate showbiz from the reality of devil worship.
So that's where we disagree 1,000% again. I mean, was he into some light devil worship in the early days? He could have been, but I don't think he really was. I think it was all just his shtick. And anybody that followed his career, and you say you have, knows that he wasn't about worshiping the devil. Like it, you know, he was just a freaking rock star. That's all it was. He was like, I've seen nothing to point me to believe that he was a Satan worshiper or a devil worshiper. I mean, all that stuff was just an act. He liked the dark stuff for a while. And like I said, and you know, throughout his career, he completely changed, I think. So, again, you're casting judgment when you should be worried about yourself.
All right. Rest in peace, Ozzy, says Beverly. I'm not so sure he is. All right.
So now Bob finally gets to the chats. And the comments that he makes and the way he looks, he just looks like such a prick. If he really was a pastor or a clergy or something like that, he wouldn't be laughing at the thought of somebody potentially going to hell. He would not be laughing at that. He would be like, man, I feel pity on this man, or, you know, stuff like that. But he's just an asshole to him. You know, anybody that says anything positive about Ozzy in his comments, he's just not very pastor-like to me at all.
Sola says he received a Bible before his passing. Not sure if he read it or not. I don't know. I stay up on the news. That's news to me. No idea about that.
You clearly don't pay attention to him, or you would know that he's made changes and he's not the same person that he used to be. And so I don't know what to say about that.
Sabrina, I think he's in heaven. The industry is a hard business. We're all forgiven if we ask. Oh, that's interesting. You think he's in heaven? The industry is a hard business, the music business. He chose the business. He wanted the fame. He wanted the glory. He wanted the millions. He wanted the approbation. He wanted all of it.
Yeah, Bob, and you chose the business that you're in, which is making millions. And I looked up your worth 1 point. You are literally making millions off of the grift that you do, the fake exorcist stuff. You've got your daughters involved in their friend or friends. I don't know if you got one daughter, two, but I don't know. There's 3 of them around. And I recall watching a documentary where you guys were making fun. You guys got off the stage and you were making fun of the people that you were doing exorcisms on while you were walking to go eat your lavish meal that was, you know, part of your contract, I'm sure. So don't question people's motives about making money and stuff like that, because that is what you are all about. If that's not the case, you would not be charging the rates that you charge to meet with people on Zoom or in person. I forgot what they are, but I looked it up. It's in a video from the past, and it's insane. You are making a shit ton of money. And in everything you do, buy my shit. I mean, you don't say buy my shit, but that's where my buy my shit thing came from. It's from you. Because anything you put out is half ministry, the other half, buy my book, watch my show, donate here. That's all you do. So don't judge people for trying to make money. God.
And then way he sold his soul to get it. And those are the facts, the cold, hard facts. That's what he did. He exploited the imagery of Satan and evil back when there weren't death metal bands like the ones I named earlier who were doing it. It wasn't the in thing to do yet. They were real pioneers with this whole Satanism thing, and he was riding the wave because just a couple of years earlier, before they released their album, Anton LaVey had come out with his Satanic Bible, and there was all this interest in Satanism.
Again, I don't think you followed him as close as you think you have, because I don't believe he was a Satanist at all. But let's move on from this. Let's get back to his comments.
Do you still do exorcism? Do I still do exorcism? Have you been to my YouTube channel? And are you aware of the fact that we do virtual and in-person encounters on a daily basis? In a few minutes, I'm just going to walk away from this microphone and I'm going to write to the computer in my office, and I'm going to start ministering to people all over the world. Yes, I still do exorcisms, and I'm going to keep doing exorcisms until the Lord calls me home.
See? Buy my shit. You just proved my point, Bob. I mean, because I doubt you're going to your office and on your computer and doing those for free. In fact, I know you're not, and so do you.
Muko says, let's all sing "'Tis So Sweet to Trust in Jesus." I'm sorry, but where's that coming from? Yes, it is sweet to trust in Jesus. That's a beautiful old song. I'm not sure it's appropriate at the death of Ozzy Osbourne, okay? Tina, his music was satanic. There's truth.
See how happy he is that he died? That's sick. I've never seen a pastor act like this about anybody passing away before. We're not going to do too much more of this because, frankly, I can't take it. I've already watched this once and cut a bunch out. And this is about all I could stand to do. So, but we still got a few more clips to play.
Lady Blue, does anybody know if Ozzy became a Christian? I don't know. I don't think anybody knows, and I'm not sure that anybody close to him even really cares.
You don't think people cared about him? And you're right, you don't know. So the whole point of your video, the whole point of you clearing your schedule is just to shit on a man that just died an hour ago. Real Christian-like, real pastor-like.
This one I don't get. Tipperix 3, I wish I had a grandpa like Ozzy. He's cool. Do you see the guy at the end? Drooling, stumbling over his words, mentally bereft of any true awareness of his life and what it was all about because of all the drugs, all the alcohol, all the disease, and you want a grandpa like that.
Yeah, I think Ozzy would have been a cool grandpa to have. And for you to not show any compassion to the fact that the man had a disease and that's why his speech was the way it was. Yeah, the drugs and alcohol played a part of that, but he had a disease that he didn't put upon himself. And you're just going to sit here and laugh and make jokes. It really fucking bugs me. Sorry, guys, I'm getting angry. I'm going to have to wrap this up soon before I start breaking shit.
It's not talk about Ozzy. We should not judge anyone. I already dealt with that.
No, you didn't. You did the obligatory, I'm not going to judge him, but, and then proceed to judge him for about 30 minutes. So shut
up. Okay. Noid says, I want a grandpa like you. Thank you so very much. Ozzy started heavy metal. Thank you for exposing casting out demons. I watch your videos.
So that's another thing. Let's get into that just a little bit before we leave. This guy does live exorcisms, I believe, on Wednesday nights on a YouTube channel. I've never seen Vincent Lampert, Father Gary Thomas. I've never seen any of those guys doing YouTube exorcisms. And in those shows, too, that he does, half of it is fake exorcism. The other half is buy my stuff. That's all the guy is about, is buying his shit. So, Bob, you are the worst kind of... I can't even call you a pastor because you're not. You're just a self-proclaimed pastor that's out there using that pastor status to get rich. And that's disgusting to me because you're mocking the religion that I believe in. You know, and again, I don't push my stuff on anybody. I don't judge anybody for what they believe. I don't. My thing is between me and God, and that's it. I mean, if people ask me questions about it, I'll tell them about it. But if not, I don't force my stuff on other people. And I don't judge other people too because we're not supposed to. You know, you don't know what's in people's hearts. You have no idea what their relationship is or isn't with God. You have no idea. So it's none of my business. But anyway, guys, thanks for watching. Sorry this took a little longer to put out. But it is what it is. I've already explained it before. And I've got another idea, too, I think, for my next video. We played in a live stream. We played a video clip from a movie that came out that was filmed here in Toledo at the Collingwood. I want to try and get over there and try and debunk it. So I think in a video coming up soon, that might be the next one. I'm going to see if we can debunk what we saw in that movie. So anyway, guys, thanks again. We'll see you on the next one. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe if you haven't already. And we'll see you later. Yeah, pretty much. Yep. Oh, wait, we're filming? Did you have a bad day at work today? Did you know that it's probably a demon? If you buy my book entitled Jezebel, you'll understand what I'm talking about. Hi, my name is Bob Larson. I am the author of over 47 books about the subject of demons and possession and how to rid yourself of demonic activity in your life. I've also started the Bob Larson University, which here we show as an actual building, but it's really not. It's just an online school. We will train you to be an exorcist. For only $1,200, you can be an exorcist. Oh crap, I forgot to put my cross on. That's better. Just remember, the most important thing is buy my shit.